team was sharp today.
It was. We had a big emphasis on cleaning up the penalties and the turnovers, and I think we did a decent job of that. We need to continue to improve in a lot of areas, but I was really happy with how they came out this week in practice, number one, and then how they finished it off this Saturday with a win.
Boy, I tell you, offensively, obviously, get the ball to start the game, go drive right down and score, and put some points on the score or on the board early, which really not only helps your offense gain confidence right away, but it just helps your defense too, doesn't it?
It does. And obviously opened up a week ago, and we had a couple 3-and-outs, and then putting our defense in some bad situations. But to get that open and drive and go down and get 7 out of it, and I think we went for it twice on 4th down, and to continue the drives there. Darren made some big plays for us, but to jump out to a 7-0 lead was is really a good start for us.
Looked like Nevada took some chances. I'd like to see your offense got into a rhythm, and at times it did, running a lot of plays and running them quickly, but also big plays because it looked like Nevada took some chances. Darren, good reads. You guys really took advantage of that and made the plays.
Yeah, I thought Darren played outstanding today, and when they came with pressure, he got the ball off to the right guys. And if you're going to blitz us, 2 things happen. The band plays. It's either their band or our band, and unfortunately our band was playing. So
good balance too, offensively. Big runs obviously helped out with that piece of the 272 yards rushing, 331 passing. When you can do both, it's awful tough to defend you, isn't it?
It is, and we want to be a balanced football team. And really take what the defense gives us. So if they're going to gang up on the run game, we have to be able to throw the ball to be successful, especially in this league. And that's what happened. We took advantage of some of the things they were trying to do and scheme-wise and getting after us. And when that happens, I think we can be pretty explosive offensively.
And to be able to get those passes off, offensive line protected well again this week.
Yeah, they did. They really did. And again, cleaned up the penalties. And that was a big thing. We were always moving forward, with that first group in there. So we'll build from this and keep going.
Thought your defense played well, too. You can look at the yards and say there's a lot of yards there, but points is really what counts. They made the plays when they needed to, didn't they?
They did. That's a very, very tough offense to defend, and Coach Alt knows it better than anybody in the country. And, it's tough even when you're on the field just watching it, who has the ball. And I thought it's for to play assignment defense like we did, in just a week to prepare for them, I thought our guys did a really good job.
And they're trying to find their offensive identity right now, obviously, with new quarterback, new tailback, and yet you can see the signs of it, can't you?
Yeah, that's a good football team, and I think they will be a good football team down the road, once they get settled down. And I know with Chris as a coach that they're always going to be a tough opponent.
All right, Coach. Well, congratulations. You get the 1-1 on the season, and we'll look forward to talking to you next week.
Thank you, Jorgie.
All right, Jerry, back up to you.
Chip over here. The matchup up front was striking when you guys had the ball. You obviously made the one lineup change with the starters, but played a lot of guys. Did you make any other adjustments in terms of what you did up front?
No. I mean, it was just going back to fundamentals, and I think usually what happens when you're breaking in so many new linemen, it's when do they start to gel and communicate with each other, and so that everybody's on the same page. And that was the communication part of it was a big emphasis for us this week in practice, and obviously it paid off for us today.
Coach Kelly, Darren Thomas had a great game today. Could you talk about the performance?
Yeah, young freshman, still learning. Made a great catch running down the sideline for a big touchdown. Fortunately, he should have been in protection and picked up the Sam linebacker, but good things happen to good kids. So he's explosive with the ball in his hands. He's a fearless competitor, very, very quick learner. And things like that mistake, even though it benefited us, it's something I don't think will happen again with him because he's that type of kid. He's a one-timer that he picks things up real quickly for us. And obviously with Kenyon being out today, we needed him to complement LaMichael, and I thought he did a really nice job for us. So.
Chip, how nice was it to get an opportunity to play as many people as you did today?
It was great. I think you're trying to build in these early games, and we still have a lot of question marks, especially in terms of depth and things like that, and who's going to play where. But when you get an opportunity, and I don't know the exact participation numbers, but to play that many guys, and then you have tape to show them, what they did good and what they did poorly and how we can improve. But to get that many guys into a game like this early in the season, I think will benefit us down the road. So.
Chip, you said this past week that Darren was good but not great against LSU, and then he comes out with a performance like today. What do you think, what was the big difference in him that you saw?
I just think he was a little bit more settled. He spent, I think last week he understood. He missed a few things, and he's just such a competitor, that he's not going to let that happen to him twice. And I thought today he came out and really managed the game very, very well and just took what the defense gave him. And that's what Darren Thomas I know. And for us to be successful, he needs to have days like this for us to really continue to roll as a football team.
You looked like you really wanted to score on that first possession. Was that 2-point try at the end of it a pre-snap look that they were giving you, or were going to happen regardless?
Yeah, we've run that for a long time here, and it's really the holder's opportunity. If it's just a mathematical deal, how many guys do they have out there? And if the numbers match, then we're going to take it. But we lined up the same way against LSU. LSU adjusted. I think that Nevada was a half a man short, but their D-line made a good play and a good push and stopped us from it. But that's something that we've always done, and it's got nothing to do, with we want to score and get 8 points. It's just a matter of if they're not going to adjust us, and we'll take it. So.
What did Cliff and Kiko do this week to earn their way back on the field?
Whenever anybody gets suspended, since I've been here, we put a plan in place for those guys. They have both behavioral and academic things that they need to attain. And really, for both those guys, they didn't finish all their work till the end of the week, so that's why they weren't reinstated earlier. And it just depends on how they do it, and when I get the answers back from some of the other people that are involved in this process. So they had both behavioral and academic ladders to climb, and they climbed those.
Cliff didn't play in the first half. Was that by design or just
No.
a matter of the depth chart? Or?
Once you get reinstated on the team, you also have to beat the other guys out. So, it'd be very unfair of us to say, all right, T. Mitch, you sit down now. Terrence Mitchell, I think, is playing really well for us. Troy Hill's playing well for us. We're developing some depth in the secondary, and that's always been our case. Just because a kid gets reinstated doesn't mean you're walking back in and we're going to hand you the keys to the castle. You got to earn everything in this football program.
Did it seem to you that your offense was able to get more in its rhythm the way that you guys like to play in this game earlier than the LSU game?
Yes, and the big thing for us is staying out of the penalties and staying out of the long yardage situations where if you can continue to move the ball on first down, you can get into some workable second and third down situations. And when we can get into a rhythm, our players settle down and they start to play really well. But, you look at the opening drives in the LSU game and really those penalties were just, we're going backwards instead of going forward. So it was a matter of just kind of staying on track. And once we can do that, our guys kind of thrive off of that. And I think both our special teams and our defense thrives off of when our offense is really rolling. So,
Coach, did you learn more about your team this week or last week?
Good question. I don't know. I guess the big thing for me would be how do they respond on Monday? And the one thing I really liked about this football team is how they came back and practiced Monday after the LSU game. But, if these guys, if I got 27 guys that have the arms in a sling because they've been patting themselves on the back when we come to practice on Monday, then we're going to have a problem. We're 1-1. And as I tell our guys, you got 24 hours, whether you win or lose. Feel really good about yourself, feel really bad about yourself, but then you got to come back to work because in this game, it's a what have you done for me lately. So I don't think anybody's really concerned when we get back to work on Monday what we did the 2 days before, whether you win or lose. And that's what what we did last year, our kind of MO last year, and that team was great at it. And I'll still see with this team. I don't know. I love the way they responded to the loss. I hope we never have to respond to that way again because that means we're doing things right. But, if these guys come out and all of a sudden think that, they're on the tops of the world and they can kind of mail it in, then we're going to have some problems. So really that decision and getting an idea of these guys will happen on Monday.
Forgive me for the pun, Coach, but do you guys feel like you played with a chip on your shoulder this weekend to prove to people that you guys could put up the numbers like you did last year?
No, and we never, and honestly, we've never talked about numbers. That means absolutely nothing to us. It's the one thing, if we can lead the country in one category, we want to lead the country in effort. That's it. So, and I'd turn the tape on and want to know if our guys played hard. And if they played hard, then we got a shot at being a good football team. But the rest of that stuff means nothing. You don't get a trophy. You actually get a plaque. There's one somewhere in our office buried underneath our secretary's desk that said we scored more points than anybody last year, but it really doesn't mean anything. So,
Coach, coaches are usually reluctant to play freshmen. Are you at all, even last week, reluctant with DeAnthony, or is he just that good? You got to find a way to get him on the field.
When you only have two, your reluctancy's got to go out the window because it was either LaMichael today or me, and I think DeAnthony's a lot better than I am. So we got nobody else. And the third player that played today was Trey Carson. He's another true freshman. So sometimes it's obviously they're talented players and they deserve to play, but there's also we don't have a lot of depth at the running back spot. So with Kenyon not being able to play this week, DeAnthony was 2 and Trey was 3. One thing that we didn't use DeAnthony at as receiver, because we couldn't cross-train him as much as we wanted to cross-train him. So really it just depends on how your roster fills itself out. And sometimes you're going to have to play some guys maybe before they should play, but not in that situation. Both those young men had a great camp for us and really deserve to play. So,
Chip, from a passing standpoint, was this Darren Thomas's best game or close to it?
It could be. I mean, I don't have all the games registered, but I'm sure it would be up there. I thought he was pretty sharp. He missed a couple throws. He missed a backside post once we threw the ball a little bit high, but besides that, I thought he made some really good decisions.
Coach, could you talk about LaMichael James' performance today, please?
Yeah, I thought LaMichael was kind of the Michael we all know that he really hit it up in there. He really helped us obviously in the return game with Kenyon being out and Cliff really being out. So stepped it up, did a great job in the punt return. Ran a great route on the one we hit him down the sidelines on. Really beat bump coverage from the will linebacker, and it's starting to really become a multi-dimensional